Town of Ayer Select Board meeting for Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. This meeting/hearing of the Ayer Select Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom and Channel 8. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom for meeting ID number 978-772-8220 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, the Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 100 prior to the meeting. If you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do have a couple of announcements this evening. First, Earth Day will be April 22nd, 2025. There will be an Earth Day celebration on Tuesday, April 22nd from 2 to 6 p.m. on McPherson Road, which will be closed to vehicle traffic. This is a car-free event and come by bike, scoot, roll, skate, and stroll along McPherson Road in the Nashville River. There will be a guided nature walk at 3 p.m. This event is sponsored by the Town of Ayer, Devon's Enterprise Commission, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Our town meeting is on April 28th at 7 p.m. The annual town meeting will take place on Monday, April 28th at 7 p.m. in the auditorium of the Ayer Shirley Regional High School. Pocket Forest Planting Days on May 3rd and May 10th. Volunteers are needed for the Pocket Forest Planting Days to be located at the Sandy Pond Schoolhouse at the corner of Sandy Pond Road and Westford Road. Bring gardening tools if you have them, water, and a friend to help. There will be 2 planting days. The first will be Saturday, May 3rd from 10 to 1 p.m. The second will be Saturday, May 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. And then the annual town-wide cleanup will be May 10th at 8:30 a.m. Due to the snow this past Saturday, the annual town-wide cleanup was postponed. It will take place Saturday, May 10th at 8:30 a.m. and volunteers should meet at the Sandy Pond Beach to pick up supplies. Any changes to the agenda or amendments?
I have none.
None.
Take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Okay. Is there anybody here or online for public input? Okay, not seeing or hearing anyone. Continue on to the continuation of the public hearing for a poll petition from National Grid and Verizon for Shirley Street. I believe.
Hold on.
I think it's good now.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we have Evan is back. Good evening, Evan.
Good evening.
Since we're continuing from the last time, the Chief, if you would like to come up. Good evening.
From the last meeting, we tabled the poll petition because we brought up several polls. Between myself and Ms. Antonellis, we've been in contact with National Grid and Verizon to try and figure out what's happening. We ended up coming up with, I understand the process a whole lot better right now. So National Grid, as they suggested, are the ones who start the process. They put in the pole and then they swap over their equipment because they're at the top, and then they chop off their pole. And then it goes into a system where all the utilities get notified as to who's next on the pole and who's gonna do the next work. So I was provided a list of, the poles. So right now, we have approximately 53 double poles in town throughout the area, and they're in various stages of, uh, swap overs. So the ones that we brought up, are basically waiting for Comcast, not National Grid nor Verizon. So Comcast in the middle has been where these poles have been kind of hiding out. So I think that there is a utility rep for this area that we can reach out to and kind of put some pressure on getting them to move. But it's evident to me that National Grid only has one pole on here that's on a double pole status. So they're doing what's required of them in getting into the system and notifying the next in line. And then in Verizon only has one pole on here as well. So they're, the two big ones in the room are kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing. My suggestion is that we use our liaison to Comcast to kind of put the pressure on them. And Mass Broadband's actually got a bunch on there that are waiting for they're next in line.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. I don't have any, so I'll go ahead and take a motion. Unless there's any public questions. Sorry, there's a public hearing. No? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the poll petitions as submitted.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you so much, all of you. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Next is going to be a joint meeting of the Select Board with the Town Moderator and the Ayer members of the Ayer Shirley Regional School Committee for the reappointment of Chris Perrell to the Neshoba Valley Technical High School Committee. Our moderator is online. If there's any members of the school committee who would like to come up.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Good evening.
just to frame the issue for everyone's benefit, per the agreement with the Neshoba Valley Technical School District, our representative is due for reappointment to a 3-year term from April 1, 2025 to March 31st of 2028, Mr. Chris Prell. Per the agreement, there's to be a joint meeting chaired by the moderator, members of the select board, members of the school committee to make that appointment. There are no other candidates, and this is a candidate for reappointment. So I'll turn it over to you, to the moderator.
Okay, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Pompeo. I'd like to call to order the meeting for the appointment of Mr. Prell to the Neshoba Valley Technical School District School Committee this evening at the Ayer Select Board meeting. In attendance, I'm going to ask you, Robert, we have everybody in attendance who needs to be here? I can't really see on the screen, I'm sorry to say.
So, Mr. Moderator, we have you chairing, we have all 3 select board members, and we have Mr. Bresnahan representing the Ayer Shirley Regional School Committee.
Is that enough, or I think Erica had responded that she could join. I'll
Okay.
have to text her if
Okay.
you need an additional.
We do have a quorum of the joint
Yes.
group. Yep, so that's who's present.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Pompeo. I couldn't recognize who was sitting at the table from here. We are here to appoint Mr. Prell. Do we have a motion to that effect? Or how would you like, how,
I'll make a motion that
thank you.
Chris Prell be reappointed to a 3-year term commencing on April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2028 as Ayer's member of the Neshoba Valley Technical School District School Committee.
I'll second.
Thank you. I'm sorry, was that, Chris, was that you seconding?
Yes.
Thank you very much. We have a move and second. Do we have any discussion on this appointment?
Just want to say I think he's done a nice job.
Yes.
Appreciate it. And thank you, Select Member Livingston. I probably should have started with, I understand Mr. Prell has done a very good job in his current role there, and I'm very happy that he has chosen to resubmit for a reappointment to the Technical School District School Committee.
Thank you.
Hearing no other objection, is there any other discussion?
I have none.
Hearing none, I'm going to have to do this by roll call, and I'm going to start with Mr. Bresnahan. How do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Livingston, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Chris, I'm blanking on your last name.
Tavares.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Navarro.
Not a problem. Aye.
I'm sorry, who is the other person sitting at the table? It's very hard to say.
No, just you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, and the moderator votes aye.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, do we need to stay in for any other items on this agenda this evening?
No.
Mr. Pomprion? Stay
No.
in session? Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the joint meeting of the Select Board, the members of the Ayer Shirley Regional School Committee, and the moderator.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And again, we'll go around. Mr. Bresnahan?
Aye.
Ms. Livingston?
Aye.
Mr. Copeland?
Aye.
Mr. Tavares?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Congratulations, Mr. Proud. Thank you very much.
Thank
you. To the town and to the school district.
It was touch and go there for a moment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, going to move on to our next item. Chris. It's Neshoba Valley Technical High School School Committee member, and Charlie Ellis from the Neshoba Valley Technical High School Committee Chair. This is a discussion on the opposition to proposed vocational school admissions lottery. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chris, would you like to go first? You want me to?
Go right ahead, Charlie.
Thank you. Currently, I am the chair of Division 8 of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. We have 2,400 members, and I represent 29 vocational schools across the Commonwealth and agricultural schools. I've been the chair at Neshoba Tech for the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm very proud to say that. The last bit of my history that I'll give you is I'm a member of the first graduating class.
Oh, cool.
So you have to give back. We did some research, and I think it's important that you folks have some research behind this. So some of the history was in the mid-'60s when towns were all talking about forming a vocational school. In the Chelmsford town voted minutes of a town meeting, they had discussion of what the townspeople expected students to have to get into Neshoba Tech. They didn't want to see excessive absenteeism, excessive tardiness, behavior issues, and they wanted to have grades that represented an interest to do this. And they also, this was done to meet the industry standards at the time in the 60s. So those have been prevalent, and we've used those right up until the early 2000s. June 11th, 2021, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, known as DESE, was petitioned about our entrance requirements being critical of certain subclasses. At the time, the Commissioner of Education of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Jeffrey Riley, did an 8-month study. And during the 8-month study, he found that with every school district having their own district agreements, some have allocations, some don't, with the makeups of the towns and everyone involved in this, but also with the needs of industry, he decided to do nothing except change a few things. And one was he asked school committees to think about collapsing the grade points. So grade points, we have no A's and no B's when you apply now. You need to have a C average. So we collapsed that. The other thing that he suggested quite strongly was that um, we change our interview process. So now it's a personal interview, whether on Zoom or in person. And that's to judge the interest of the student. Some of the, I don't think you have this data, but some of the data that the Department of Education used last year was based on statewide standards. Neshoba Tech supports 8 towns, and those 8 towns amount to 186,000 people. And that comes down to about 1.69% valued across the state. So that 6.9% is exactly what we should be graded on as far as our entrance standards and who comes. After a lot of work, we realized that there was 1 or 2 schools that was questionable, and these were inner city schools, gateway city schools. For the last year and a half, we have asked for that information on what do we have to do to correct that problem. We finally got it by asking for a full records request from the public. They had to give it to us so that we understood. After reviewing that, there's really 1 or 2 schools out of the 29 that are questionable, but they've been working for the last 2 years to rectify any problems as far as entrance. And when I say entrance, this reflects, there's some protected classes. One is IEPs, 504s. Are you familiar with IEPs and 504s? Students of color and low income. So just to clear the field, I want everyone to understand that at Neshoba Tech, we have 54% on IEPs and 504s. 54%. About 38% of our population, and that goes across the board, is low income. We meet or exceed every single data point on the state and federal government has put out for making sure that we're taking care of all people, all students. They still have decided to go forward, and at this point, they're holding open questions from the Department of Education. There's a website you can go to. I think Chris passed out cards before, and you can say exactly what you feel about having a blind lottery or a blind weighted lottery. And that's where we're going. So a blind lottery would be everybody's name's put into a hat. I'm told that I'll have to stand before a camera and pull a number out. Give it to Chris, he'll read it, and it'll be logged into the register of the student picked. It's just not going to solve the problem. The real problem is we have about 4,500 students across the state that don't have a seat. By implementing a blind lottery, you're not going to fix that problem. We still have students who don't have a seat. The other part of the blind lottery, which is really concerning, they're calling it CTE, which is Career Technical Education. They're talking about putting a career technical program, maybe computer programming, computer web design, a very soft program into a comprehensive high school like Ayer Shirley. Now the word here is CTE, because if they put a CTE program in there, it's just like a vocational school, it's a blind lottery in your comprehensive high school. The problem with that is that this is not going to be a 3-credit course, it's going to be a 2-credit course, and it's going to be a course that a junior or a senior takes because they need to make up 2 credits. It's going to meet once a week. But you still have to have a blind lottery because it's a CTE program. And listening to what's being said, the scary part is, if the blind lottery goes into effect, or a blind weighted lottery, and when I say a blind lottery, they're changing the standards. There are no standards. Right now you have up to 10 days of excused absences. They're willing to give 27 days. The only behavioral problem will be is basically if you pull the firearm out and shot somebody, you wouldn't be able to get into a voc school. Noting full well that we put cars up on lifts, we have knives, blow torches, saws. I mean, this is full on real world. And so they've taken that away. They want no grades whatsoever to be looked at, and they want no personal interview. And in doing so, they're not going to still solve the problem of 4,500 kids without a seat. They're just going to exasperate it, and more parents will be upset. We have parents upset now about some of this. So when they go to a comprehensive high school and they do a CTE program with a blind lottery, do you know where the blind lottery is going to go next? Sports. AP programs. Music. Band. This is the new thought process coming out of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. This is, I believe, being championed by the Governor and the Attorney General of the Commonwealth and Secretary Tetweiler. 29 vocational schools are against this. We've stood strong, and we've been trying to have negotiations and talk like adults, but that just doesn't happen. So our last hope here is to get people to respond to the DESE inquiry of, you know, how you feel about a blind lottery. I took it a little further, and I actually approached the town of Littleton, and I explained to them just what I said to you folks tonight, and I know you have a copy of the letter that Littleton signed. Littleton's huge problem with all this, and it's mine also, is that Littleton sends 14 to 15, 16 students a year to Neshoba Tech. I'm not sure how many.
We're 9 to 12, maybe.
9 to 12.
14 was our highest.
So let's go 14. On a blind lottery, any given year, the town of Ayer may have no students picked to go to Neshoba Tech. Number one, are you still responsible for capital expenses? Because that freshman class will follow through for 4 years. So you get a free ride for 4 years. Nobody seems to be able to answer that question. Number two, what happens if 1 year Ayer has 28 kids picked? The impact to your budget would be huge. And I can't predict that. It would be the same to Littleton, it would be the same to Groton, and the same to Shirley, because we're smaller towns and we have smaller kids applying to the tech. But for Littleton to face going from 14 to 28 would be devastating to that budget out of the blue.
I think it would be the same here.
There would be
Totally
budget cuts all
devastating.
over the place to accommodate that. So not only is it going to have a financial impact on the towns, it's going to change the way your comprehensive schools are running. And because they're going to do a blind lottery, to be quite honest with you, you don't need Chris and you don't need me. And the gentleman that was here during the vote, you don't need him, because our job is to make policy and to make sure the schools run fiscally responsible and to take care of that. That's what we do. And if this goes blind lottery, we will have no say at all on anything. Neither will the town,
So
even though you're part of the district agreement.
I think what we're really looking for is that the admissions decision must remain under the local control of elected and appointed school committees. These committees are best positioned to understand the specific needs and the priorities of their communities and to tailor the admission policies accordingly. In 2021, the regulations would recognize the necessity of locally tailored admission policy must be upheld. This is DESE's statement. A quote, one-size-fits-all approach is detrimental to the system. DESE itself claimed that back in 2021. Now, the exact words that I use is from DESE. They want to change the game. And it's just not a good game for the students, for the town, the sending towns, for everybody. There's no winner in a blind lottery. Like we said, we could all apply at this table today. I could be the only one that get picked. We could all get picked. You know, it's just like going down and buying a lottery ticket. There's no guarantee. And the problem is right now, we don't have enough seats. The state needs to grant more money for building expansions or to hire more teachers so we don't have wait lists. Voc Ed has had wait lists for the past 4 years. So that's one, our way to solve it is give us more money so we can afford, everybody that's interested should have a seat.
And when I say give us more money, I'm not asking the towns. I'm
State.
not doing that.
Nope.
So we had the millionaires tax, they raised $400 million. They're sitting on $400 million. Sitting on it. We've asked them to disperse it. That money was for transportation as well as education. So $100 million, I know that they plan to give some to the MBTA. I get it. You know, trains have to run, and they're giving a lot of money to secondary education to upgrade the college buildings that the state owns. But we don't have enough seats. And the money that they're trying to allocate, $75 million, will not do it. Recently, we put on an addition, a modular that we paid for. We put on 7,200 square feet, and we had a grant for that. And that grant was for 3.75 million, and we put another 25,000 into it to finish it off, 50,000 into it to finish it off. We're able to move 3 programs in there. In doing so, we were able to open up other shops and give them more room. This is the first year that Neshoba Tech has been able to guarantee every single freshman their first pick. Nobody went home sad because they're not going to be an electrician or a plumber or an IT person or they all got their first pick this year.
And we were able to add for the first time, the 4th electrical teacher, because electrical is that is the booming program. So there's a lot of interest in technical education.
And the problem with staff is that per DESI's regulations, and I did say that we do have a lot of dangerous things there that kids work with. So in a lot of these shops, it's the law that you have to have 10 students per 1 instructor because of what they're dealing with and what they're working with. That's not to say the kid's not going to get a splinter or accidentally cut themselves, but that can be fixed. The big stuff we don't see too much of because of that teacher-student ratio. So that's my 2 cents. I appreciate your time and
Would appreciate your support with what we have informed you of and standing strong with us in opposition of a blind lottery and keeping with the admission policies as per the 2021 DESI standards.
And I would suggest that if you can do this and you decide to take a vote and do it, that you send it to every single state senator that represents Ayer and every single state rep, as well as the chair of the Board of Ed, Secretary Tetweiler, and you might as well throw the governor in on top.
Yeah. We're in Vermont.
Oh, is she in Vermont right
No,
now?
we are.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So in the board's packet is a letter from the select board for your consideration for a vote with opposition to the proposed vocational school admissions lottery. And as you can see on the second page up there, it is copied to the governor and all of the appropriate folks. So if the board is willing to vote and sign that letter, we would get that off to them.
Any questions on the letter?
I'm pragmatic. I'm a firm believer that if you fix the lower level stuff, infrastructure, education and everything, a lot of the other issues get solved. So I think that this is a good idea. I think that you can't just have a one size fits all on everything. And if we've got $400 million, I'm all for a rainy day. But I think we could loosen up 300 million and still have a little money for a rainy day. Because quite honestly, if a rain comes and 100 million ain't enough, you got bigger problems. You know? So I think it's time that some of all this surplus money that we keep hearing about
Exactly.
loosen the purse strings. So, but she doesn't listen to me. So, what do we know?
Chris, any questions on the letter or?
No, it looks good. I'm willing to support.
Yes, same. Okay, I'll take a motion.
Okay. Then I make a motion to support this
letter by the Ayer Select Board opposing the lottery for the Neshoba Valley Technical High School.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Our next item is Dan and Kimberly. Welcome. Our DPW Public Works. Good evening.
How are you?
Fine,
Great.
and
How
you?
are you?
Good, thank you. So I'm here to review a couple of items. The first is a reevaluation.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Pauline has her hand up.
Yep, Pauline.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, Kimberly, but I wanted to make a statement regarding the letter you have endorsed, which I support. But I think it will be interesting to see how the governor reacts to funding the technical school versus Neshoba Valley. So please keep that in mind. I'm sure you will, but I just want that out there. Let's keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.
But, so,
What? No, she's done.
No, she's not on mute though.
Oh,
There we go. Okay, thank you. Okay. Go ahead.
so the first item is the reevaluation of local limits. I was here back in November because one of our consulting firms, Hoyle Tanner and Associates, they drafted a reevaluation of local limits, and the EPA has reviewed it. We you voted to approve it. The EPA has since evaluated it and made these comments that they would like these males, to be listed as pounds per day instead of milligrams per liter. So I've come today to ask that you make a motion and approve this edit that the EPA is requesting. I don't know if you have any questions.
So it doesn't fundamentally change.
It doesn't fundamentally
Semantics.
change even like the quantities or anything like that. It's just in how they're listed in the report.
Okay. Questions?
no. I'll make a motion that the reevaluation of local limits based on the U.S. EPA comments be changed from milliliters. Is that what you said?
Or concentration to mass.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Okay, thank you. The next item is about our cross-connection control program. This is really for informational purposes. Since I've been here, it's kind of come to my attention that we're not exactly in compliance with our cross-connection control program. And so what I'm trying to do is get our community and our water supply system up to compliance with the DEP and our own regulations. So one of those requirements is that we have everybody, all commercial, institutional, and industrial buildings surveyed for the need for a cross-connection device. And just so you know, what a cross-connection device is where potable water, which is the water that we supply, meets non-potable water. So a good example is your boiler has water in it that's non-potable, so you have to have a cross-connection device that doesn't allow that non-potable water from entering the potable water system and contaminating the water supply. So these cross-connection devices are needed in a lot of places. And so getting back to the point, all of these businesses need to be surveyed for cross-connection needs and devices. And we haven't had a comprehensive survey done in some time, so we're overdue. We're contracting with a company called Operation Works to do a survey throughout the town, but I anticipate that there's going to be some pushback from some businesses that they're going to have to install devices that they didn't know that they had to install. I'm planning on working with the plumber inspector, the building inspector, Board of Health, even the assessors on trying to get me lists of buildings that are considered commercial, industrial, institutional. So that's where we're at. I think the biggest pushback is going to be there's a line in our own local ordinance, our own local regulation that says all industrial and commercial establishments attached to the town water system will be required to install at the service entrance and immediately downstream of the meter a reduced pressure backflow device. So that right now I can tell you that there's a lot of buildings that don't have that. So there, I do feel that there is going to be pushback. So I just wanted to inform you of that. But this is a regulation. It's a requirement. It's our own regulation. I'm just trying to get us up to compliance.
Yeah, can I add to, Kimberly's done a good job of writing the ship on this program, and really what, you know, she's getting at, it protects our water system by having these devices in place, and it's required by DEP regs and our local bylaw, so very important, and so we're just writing the ship and making things right, so it's gonna be new to some that haven't been doing it.
Right.
Any questions?
Okay. Thank you. The last item is a update on the water supply and a drought update, and also just information about the standard water ban that starts May 1st. So I don't know if you're aware, but we are in a drought according to the state. At the time that I wrote this memo, we were in critical drought, but now we're in a significant drought. We've been downgraded to a stage 2 critical drought, or significant drought, I'm sorry. And so things are getting better. It's snowed, we're getting some rain, but we're still in drought. However, we aren't forced at this time to implement drought restrictions based on the state requirements, but we are required to, part of our Water Management Act permit, to implement these odd even days of watering starting May 1st through September 30th. So I just request that you're aware of this and that you support this and would make a motion to implement it.
Questions?
No, I like how you bolded the, per the Water Management Act permit.
Right, it's,
Get that out there, you know,
Not
first and
close.
foremost, yes, it's not, you know, kind of, hey, we just feel like doing it, or any other reason, that's the reason.
Well, there's still a sign that says, you know, mandatory water restrictions. It's been going on for, well, a decade or
Yeah.
more. So, you know.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that people need to remember is when you're watering on your day and during the time that you can water, is when you're starting to water the road, you really should turn it off. So that I think is a big problem, is that, you know, people will be watering and they get to doing something and next thing you know, they're watering the road, you know, so, and you really can water quite well with a handheld. So, but that's always been my biggest thing. It's like, why are you watering the road? So, now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to power wash my deck so that I can stain it. So,
you're still allowed to do that.
I know. I'm going to have to do it. I'm an odd number, so, you know, you up at 8 a.m., get part of it done, and then after 5.
The best time to power wash is at like 2 when it's really hot, so, you know, by 5 o'clock, you just have to bundle up a little bit,
Yeah.
as a veteran of doing this.
All right, I'll go ahead and take a motion.
I'll make a motion to vote to implement the outdoor water use restriction effective May 1st of mandatory no outdoor water use between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on mandatory odd even outside water restrictions, even numbered street addresses, water on even numbered dates, and odd numbered addresses on odd numbered dates.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair says aye.
Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, brings us to our next topic, the town manager's report. Mr. Pomperant.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, good evening. You have in your packet the town warrants that were reviewed and approved since the board last met on April 1st. I will get right into my action items unless there are any questions from the board on any administrative matters. The first item is appointments to the Air Sustainability Committee. As the board is aware, you authorized recently the creation of a new Town of Air Sustainability Committee, of which there are to be 3 resident representatives for 3-year terms. We had 3 applicants by the deadline, Mr. Dan Boudris, Miss Christine Goulet, and Miss Faith Salter, who I believe all are here this evening. You have their letter of intent in the packet. We're looking forward to having them appointed and looking forward to the Air Sustainability Committee will begin to meet, and our conservation agent, Heather Hampson, will be leading that effort with that committee. So the candidates are here if the board wants them to come forth for any questions, or we'd be recommending for appointment.
Any questions?
I have one question. So
Yes.
everyone's going to get a 3-year term, which means we end up in that little problem that we keep creating. That we had to straighten out so that it had, you know, like a 3 and a 2 and a 1. So if everyone's getting a 3-year term, it means everybody's done at the same time.
Okay?
So that's my only question. Now, as far as who would get what, I would probably pull a name out of a hat, you know, at that point.
A lottery.
A blind lottery?
You know, or if somebody wants to say, hey, you know, I'm willing to, because let me just preface this with, you know, for example, if someone had the 1-year term, they can get reappointed next year.
Right.
Okay, but it keeps that, you know, because we bothered to try to straighten out that mess last year, and now we're creating it again. So that's my only observation.
Okay? I mean, however the board would like to proceed.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, because you don't want to have, in 3 years,
Everybody.
everyone's just done.
Mhm.
You know, and you might have interest, but now you have 3 brand new people without that continuity. So,
Right. So that we, you know, so that's my only observation, but I don't.
yeah,
Fine with that?
I don't know how we want to handle it though.
Do you guys,
Does anybody want to volunteer for the 3-2-1?
yeah? Yeah, please come up.
Just have a suggestion.
Absolutely.
So for the record, Heather Hansen, Conservation Agent. Because it's being a new committee, I just have a little warrant of like weary of having a 1, 2, 3 for the first go around.
Did it with the Cemetery Commission, which was a brand new committee, and we gave them a 3-2-1.
Because I might just thought would be to maybe do a 2 and then 2 3s and then going forward and then just for the first reappointment, then maybe altering at that point. But I'm with the full. This is your guys' decision. I just wanted to make that observation that maybe, because it is going to take us at least the first, obviously, a few months to figure out what it is this committee is actually going to be doing and what their warrants are. And I would hate to see somebody just get in the thick of it and have that appointment already leering over their head, knowing very well that it's probably going to be fine, but I don't want to see that there without the committee even getting up and running 100%, and rather see it to be a full 2-year term instead of having a 1-year. For the first go around.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's no cloud over anybody, you know, and all committees have been with the 3-2-1. I don't know, you know, I mean, I understand what she's saying, but I don't necessarily agree. But there is no cloud because there's no work that the individual would have to do. Everybody gets an email when their appointment comes up to say, hey, do you want to reappoint? And they go, yeah. They don't even have to show up.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand that. I'm just as an observational, as someone who's going to be sitting on the, you know, running it. And again, it's entirely up to you guys. That was just my thought. Wanted to bring it to you, fully up to your decision. And I understand that the committee's been reappointed on a number of boards and always been like, oh, this again.
So.
That's it.
And then it would just be to start.
It's just
And
to
then
start,
after
because the
would be a 3-year
reappointment,
term.
It's for 3 years.
whoever gets the 1 year, they're reappointed for 3. The 2-year gets reappointed for 3, so after that, but it's always that rotation.
Okay.
yeah.
Just to kind of make it so that you don't empty a committee all at once. So that's really the purpose of it.
And understand too that the committee will have town departments on there. These are just the representatives for the residents.
This is just the citizens.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. All three potential members are here? Yeah. Does anybody care? The 1, 2, 3?
I'm gonna say the one could be good for anyone that's not really sure about commitment levels, and, you know, that it could be a plus. If,
Yeah, I have a 1-year-old son, so maybe a 1 is right for me.
Okay.
We'll see how this balance.
I think that's great.
So we can go
See, that's.
down the list as it's presented in the packet. Dan, you do the 1, and then Christine will do the 2. Faith, the 3. Does that work?
She was fine with the 3 until I brought this up.
I was like, 3, huh? 3 years of one.
Well, you know, if things didn't work out, you know, then we would just reappoint somebody with the remainder of the term. But, you know, but this kind of straightens out that potential mess that we were about to create.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Excellent. See, I
any
already
other
love these
questions?
people. They're so easy to work with, right? Gonna do good things.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so for Mr. Boudris, is that correct, Dan? Buttress, I'm sorry. For him, it'd be a 1-year term to expire June 30th of 2026.
Okay.
It'd be a 2-year term for Miss Christine Goulet to expire June 30th, 2027. And a 3-year term for Miss Faith Salter to expire on June 30th of 2028.
Okay. Perfect. Any other questions?
No, we got that squared away.
All right. Should be 3 motions.
Okay.
Separate motions.
I'll make a motion that Mr. Dan Budress be appointed to the Air Sustainability Committee for a 1-year term.
Second?
I gotta go. Thank you so much. I had awful allergies this weekend, and now it's just. Thank you so much. Oh,
For
did
1
I
year.
finish that motion?
1-year term expiring.
June 30th, 2026.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. I'll do the other ones for you.
Okay,
if you
thank you.
want. I'll make a motion that Ms. Christine Goulet be appointed to the Air Sustainability Committee for a 2-year term expiring June 30th, 2027.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. And I'll make a motion that Ms. Faith Salter be appointed to the Air Sustainability Committee for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2028.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Okay. Thank you guys for being
Thank you
willing
very
to
much.
serve.
Thank you
Very
for
excited.
And good luck with a 1-year-old son.
Yeah. All right.
So the next item, item number 3, the board has in the packet continued from the discussion on April 1st of the proposed town policy on the use of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides on town-owned property. There was a good discussion on April 1st on the policy. The one takeaway which has been incorporated in the final draft was to have a section on public education. So if you look at in the packet, added a section 6.0 public education that reads, the town of Ayer shall periodically provide public information and education for town personnel and the general public about rodenticide hazards to the ecosystem and human health, as well as information and education on integrated pest management, IPM alternatives. And we've already received a lot of great information from Marion Stoddard and Ann Gagnon and others. So that was the only change to the policy. On approval by the select board, the board will sign, and the policy will be transmitted to all town departments to go into effect and to the Board of Health.
Great. Any questions on the addition?
No? Looks
I'll make a motion that the select board approve the town policy use of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides on town-owned property as proposed.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Christine.
And then, Mr. Chairman, just lastly, members of the board, on the town meeting update, as the chair mentioned in the announcements, Monday, the 28th of April at 7 p.m. is town meeting. The warrant has been publicly posted and is available on the town's website. It was also sent last Friday for printing and to be mailed to all households in advance of town meeting. We've started the articles of the day, where each day summarizes one of the articles and gives some links to additional information. On the town's web page, if you go to the town meeting page or just type in town meeting, it'll take you to a page that has the warrant as well as all of the articles and any of the supporting materials that support those articles. If anybody wants hard copies of anything, come to my office during normal hours at Town Hall and be happy to give hard copies of that material. So I think we're in good shape. I also just want to highlight in the packet, and I did transmit this to the moderator, as we've done in past years recently, which I think has worked well, is the use of a consent agenda where articles that are the standard business articles of the town meeting. In other words, some articles come up every year. They're non-controversial. They're relatively straightforward, can be moved by consent. And the advantage to that is it frees up more time and focus for town meeting on the more substantive articles or the more, if there are controversial articles. So in this case, more time can be focused on the budget, the school budget, the zoning articles, and the citizens petition, the home rule petition. So no action required by the board, tonight. Usually the moderator will announce that at the beginning of the meeting, and a motion will be made by the board. These are just the articles that are sort of the standard ones for consent. Again, if a member of town meeting has a question, of course, through the moderator, we'll answer that question on that. So I believe we're in good shape for town meeting. So unless there's any questions from the board, that actually concludes my report tonight.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That brings us
2 weeks.
to our next item, which is new business or select board member questions. Didn't have any.
I have none.
Okay. And then approval of meeting minutes from our April 1st meeting. I didn't have any changes or edits.
No, these are good.
I'll make a motion that the meeting minutes from April 1st, 2025 be approved as submitted.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
And if there's nothing else, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Good, everybody.